Hey guys, it's Monica. So I thought I would make this video for you guys and give you a few helpful tips on how to decrease your toxic load and a few things that you can do to make your home a little safer. If you're new, I post videos twice a week on parenting, healthy living, and life with little ones. I would love for you to subscribe to the channel if you've not already. So what is a toxic load anyway, and why should we care? Today there are literally thousands of chemicals and toxins in our environment that we are constantly coming in contact with. And every year more and more are introduced. Research has shown many of these chemicals have a negative impact on our health, or insufficient evidence to show that they are indeed safe. Unfortunately, it sometimes takes years of exposures to these chemicals before they are proved to be unsafe and then pulled from the market, but their impact remains. It can sometimes definitely feel overwhelming, trying to figure out what you need to avoid, what's okay, what's not okay, and it feels like it's changing every week. It's true, it's impossible to avoid all of it. Some of these things we really don't have much control over our exposure to them. But fortunately, there are a few simple things that we can do to help decrease the buildup of these substances in our bodies. So toxic load is basically the accumulation of all of these different environmental chemicals and toxins that builds up into our body and cause harm. The higher the amounts of these toxic chemicals building up in our bodies, obviously will have a negative effect on our health. So number one, just be really conscious of what you're putting in and on your body. And I really feel like this is the easiest one because you pretty much have control over what you're eating or what products you're using. I think it's really important to keep in mind that whatever you're putting on your skin is ultimately going to end up inside your system. So the first thing I would say would be to focus on eating clean. And when I say eating clean, I don't mean that you have to have a perfect diet, but what's going into the food is actually food. I also feel by eating organic, we're able to avoid a lot of these extra things. You're going to avoid pesticides, herbicides, fertilizers, antibiotics, hormones, as well as artificial flavors and sweeteners. If you aren't able to get organic, thoroughly washing produce and grains before using them can also help decrease the amounts of these things that can be found on top of the food. And I feel like a really easy thing to do is just to read the labels of our packaged food. So it's right there on the label, and a pretty good rule of thumb is that you should be eating foods as close to whole as possible, meaning like as close to how it comes and grows in nature as possible. And make sure that you know what the thing is on the label. If you can't pronounce it, it's probably a good idea to maybe avoid it or do a little research into that thing and see if that's something that you really want to be putting into your body. So the next thing that you can do is just be mindful of the beauty products and cosmetics that you're using. So this includes everything from shampoo, soap, lotion, toothpaste, perfumes, makeup, deodorant, and the like. These everyday products that we're using are often filled with harmful substances like hormone disruptors, skin irritants, and allergens, and carcinogens. The good news is that it's actually pretty easy to avoid a lot of these things and find safer products. The EWG has a skin deep database where they have many of the products that you're going to find, and it breaks it down by the ingredients in the product and shows you really quickly a score or a grade of the safety of the product. It also breaks down all of the ingredients in the product and gives those individual things a score as well. So that's another thing I suggest, is reading the labels of the products that you're getting. With this, you're able to learn how to read labels, what to look for, what products you're avoiding, and why. But unfortunately, a lot of times with these sort of products, with the proprietary rights and whatnot, then they don't have to list all of the ingredients, and so it makes it a little bit more difficult as a consumer to really know what's in there. So that's what I really like this EWG Skin Deep database, that gives us that information and helps us to sort through what we really want to be using and what we might want to avoid. Honestly, using this has made my life so much easier. I'll go to the store, if I see a product, I'll quickly just pop it into Google, put the name of the product, and then just put EWG right behind it, and it will just pull up the EWG page. I can quickly look at it and say, yeah, that's an okay product for me, or no, I don't want to get that product because it's got this score, or it's got this in it. And it's also, like I said, trained me to be able to look at the label and understand what that ingredient is and whether or not I want to buy something or use something with that in it. So another thing that you can do is to switch to green cleaning products. You can watch my DIY cleaning videos, which I'll link in the description and throw in the info card up there. See how to make your own safe, non-toxic cleaning products, or refer to the EWG whenever you're buying cleaning products at the store. Unfortunately, a lot of these cleaners are loaded with toxins, and every time we're spraying them or using them, they just get into the air and we breathe them in. Air fresheners and sprays are not excluded from this. Even though they smell great, it's definitely not something that I want to breathe in. Another thing to consider is to be careful with plastics. BPA and phthalates are in these plastics that we're using every day. Some of these substances like BPA have been actually banned from children's products, but are still allowed in a lot of the other products. And then some of the times what they're replacing them with is a little bit dicey as well. So we really don't know what they're being replaced with or the safety of those substances. So I think a good thing to kind of keep in mind is to not heat plastics. When they're heated, sometimes the chemicals will leach out into the food or liquids that are around them. Avoid drinking out of plastic water bottles. They're so convenient, it's really hard to do, but most still contain BPA, which has already been proven to be harmful and banned in some instances, but not others. And when they're heated, which they're often, transported, or they're sitting out, or they're sitting in the car, those chemicals are just leaching into that water. So I'm sure you can think of a time where you're drinking out of a plastic bottle and you think, oh wow, this tastes a little bit like plastic. Well, that's because you're actually drinking the plastic because it's leaching out into the bottle. So it's probably just best to avoid those. Get yourself a little stainless steel or glass bottle and avoid the BPA. I'll also link a plastic guide in the description that I found super helpful, and reading the numbers on the plastic and knowing which ones have what in them, which ones are safer and which ones to avoid. Another thing that you can do is just open up the windows in your home. Outdoor air is shown to be about 5 times cleaner actually than indoor air. So keeping the windows open and keeping the air flowing will help keep the air in your home a little bit cleaner. You can also invest in a quality air purifier. So another thing that you can do, which can definitely be awkward at times, is to have a no shoes policy in your house and just request that when people come in, they remove their shoes. You'd be really surprised and probably quite grossed out once you think about what your shoes pick up over the course of wearing them day to day. This can include pesticides that are sprayed on the lawns that you're walking on, toxic coal tar, harmful bacteria like E. coli or MRSA, and even fecal matter. And carpets and rugs actually acts like a magnet to all of that stuff. Even when you clean them, it's really actually quite difficult to get it all out, and a lot of it remains in the carpet fibers. And the last tip would just be remember to stay hydrated, and remember that your body has natural toxin filters from your liver and your kidneys. Hydrate with clean filtered water to help flush your system out and allow your kidneys and your liver to get rid of the toxins that you aren't able to avoid. At the end of the day, just being aware and making an effort to decrease these toxins that are introduced to your body and in your home will go a long way. And it honestly gets easier as you go along, and it just becomes second nature. We certainly can't avoid it all, but we can help to decrease our toxic loads and make our homes a little safer. I really hope you guys liked this video and found it helpful. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, and remember to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Thanks so much for watching.